Hi all, this is Arjun from Mystic Alankar. In today's video, I'll be showing you how to make an EDM groove, and it sounds something like this. So it's a very simple arrangement. Even though it sounds very complex, you'll be surprised to see how easy it is to make something sound full like this if you have the right tools. So let's get straight in and see what we've got here. So as you can see, I've split all the layers into three groups: drums, bass, and synths. So within the drums, you have the kick, and you have some top loops here, and you have a tambourine. So the kick is a basic four on the floor kind of arrangement where there's four kicks every bar, and it sounds like this. You can hear the kick itself is very full. It has subs. It doesn't have too much of the click because this didn't need that much of the click part of the kick. It has more of the subs and it has some body. So that kind of kick really works well in these kind of productions. And after that, you can see the top loops. This is one. So basically, if you have a loop, you can just chop it and keep pasting it on every bar or make some pattern out of it based on the groove that you're looking for. This is top loop 2. So this is used mostly for the snare hit and the next hit just after that. And this is top loop 3, which is essentially hi-hats. And here you have a tambourine loop. So all these top loops add a lot of movement and high end to the track, which makes the drum sound brighter. So all the drums together sound like this. Next we look at the bass. The bass has two layers. One of them is this crunchy pluck bass from our ACE Volume 2 Serum pack, and that sounds like this. So it's a very simple pattern with the note changing every bar. As you see here, the note, this is all the same note, then this is all the next note, and then the next note, and the next note. So you have this kind of a pattern, and the sound is more bright with a lot of bite because we want the bass to come out, and we want it to be more audible in the mix, even on laptop or phone speakers. So that's why we use this kind of a sound. And to give it some more weight or body, we layered it with this kind of a bass, which sounds like this. This actually sounds like this without the EQ. So it's playing the exact same notes, but it's used to cover a different space in the frequency spectrum. So with the EQ, it sounds like this. So this is mostly to get the low mids. It's not really doing much for the subs because we already have the subs and the bite coming from this bass. So this bass is just kind of supporting the other layer. This is also from our Serum pack. So overall, this bass sounds like this, both together. And although it looks like the second bass isn't adding much to the overall bass sound, it still adds an important frequency which is missing in the first bass. So both together really sounds much fuller. And then when you come to the synths, we see that we have first of all a lead synth and backing synths. So the lead synth is playing the melody, which is this. So this is the melody, and this is again from our Serum pack. It's called Octave Lead. And actually over here, you have the option to change it to mono or make it poly. So by default it's mono, but you can also try poly. We've just layered the melody on 2 different octaves so that it sounds fuller. If I just delete this part, it'll sound like this. So this sounds a little bit thin. So to make it sound broader or bigger in the mix, we've just layered this same thing 1 octave below. So both together in poly mode sounds like this. So it adds a little more weight to the lead. And to support the melody and the bass and the drums, you have other backing layers. So you have these chord stabs that is from here again. Everything is from ACE Volume 2. Chord, saw, chord stabs. And they sound like this. So this is just doing the root and third of the chord. So this is G and this will be B. So G and B. So G major kind of chord without the fifth. And this is E and G. So this is E minor. And here you have D major. So G, E minor, D. That kind of a chord progression. And it's just doing the same rhythm as the bass. You can see that everything works together. Like the bass pattern and the chord stabs pattern is the same. So that's why they go together. Even though the notes are different, we haven't kept the bass as the root notes of the chord because it just sounded better on those notes. Otherwise, you can always have the bass play the root notes of the chords. That's a simple way of doing things. But anyway, apart from that, we have this pluck. This is a more long, drawn out sound. So when you blend these kind of things together, like the long sounds with more sustain and the stabs, which are short, plucky sounds, then you get a very diverse, very interesting texture overall. So if you hear this one, this is like this. It's the same chord progression. This is again G, G and B. B here, sorry. And here you have G. G and E, which is part of E minor, G major. The same chord progression, but the voicing is a little different. And these are sustained kind of notes. So it just adds more depth to the production. Next we have this layer, the underwater lead from here, this one. It's a very simple counter melody and it doesn't really stick out in the mix. It's more like a blending kind of element which makes the mix sound fuller. And you can hear a little bit of delay on it. That's within the patch itself, so there's no other delay added. Here you just added a doubler from waves, but that's not really required in this case. And here we have this pluck. Again, this is doing the same chord progression. And the purpose of keeping this sound is to add more attack to the starting notes. So as you can see, having a combination of chord stabs and sustained chords makes it seem like there's a lot going on in the production and it adds more interest. So the listener keeps grooving to that and it sounds very full. Make sure you have a reason though to add a new layer if you're adding something, because if you just keep adding stuff, very soon the production becomes very saturated with layers and it feels messy. It feels like you have too many things going on and you have to EQ out everything and then the mix ends up becoming very thin. So to avoid that, we just add layers wherever they are really filling a certain gap in the frequency spectrum, and we don't just add for no reason, just out of habit or something. So as music producers, initially, I think all of us make that mistake where we just keep adding stuff without any real purpose and things sound fuller and fuller, but then at one point Once you're done, you realize that your mix is too muddy, and then you start cutting stuff with EQ. And then after that, once you finish your mix, you realize that your mix sounds thin. So the secret in a good mix is also good layering. So I'll just play the groove one more time with everything together. Hope you found this video useful. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you'd like to see more music production tutorials. And you can also visit our website to download all the Serum presets used in this tutorial. They're all from our ACE Volume 2 Serum Preset Pack. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.